The following is a Live the Dream Media production.
And good morning, Marana. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, already.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry for the technical difficulties we're having this morning.
Yeah, we're in talks with Xfinity today.
Yeah.
A lot of the connection issues we saw this morning are stemming from Xfinity's service, and I did see that Trico is looking to possibly add some broadband to the area, so we're a little excited about that. We did do something cool though from the Founders Day parade here in Marana.
Tell us about it, David.
This weekend, right? So first off, great event, Marana's Founders Day event. It was awesome. There was great food. There was music. There was a car show. It was fun. We've been doing it. We've done it every year for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years.
Been out there.
Yeah,
some shape or
some form.
But we used
and it was chilly to start today. Let's be honest about it.
Oh yeah, it was windy.
But Mayor Tom Murphy from Sal Rita came up and brought some sunshine. So
yeah, he took credit for that. But y'all can say whatever you want about Elon and stuff in the world, but we used Starlink on a test broadcast remote from the Founders Day event, and it went smooth.
Glitch free for about 6 hours?
Yeah. Yep.
We started broadcasting at about 8.
Yeah,
and we
pretty awesome.
Shut down about 2.
Yeah, we were playing live music.
Not an issue.
Yeah.
Live broadcast, live music, several interviews, chats, I would rather call them. But
so if you want to go see those, they're on our YouTube channel. You can go check them out from the Founders Day.
That was fun.
Yeah, Clint led the way on that, and I ran the computer that day because it was a test, man. It was cool.
I just talked to people. You made it all happen.
Yeah.
I marvel at that sometimes, how adept we are at technology, and that young man sitting right there across the table from me is the reason for that.
But yet when you have service go down in your internet, you're at the will of that still. So there's always that term.
We were out in the middle of a parking lot and had no problems. Here we are in a hardwired building.
Yeah.
And this week's been squirrely.
We had almost the same speeds out there for all the upgraded packages stuff we have here, which is insane.
And it was a thing about this big. Right?
Yeah. You just set it on a car or a table or a building or wherever you need it to be, and you plug it in, you use the app, and you're good. It's insane. And I was talking to Tim Wagner is the guy that he gave us the demo on it, the free trial, right? And he fabricates these for all kinds of organizations. He even gets them where they're like mounted on a car permanently, right? And he can get different sizes and all that stuff. So he was really, really helpful with that. I want to shout him out. He does some Starlink stuff and setting people up. And I know he came and picked it up yesterday, and he was taking it out to Cal Portland, which I was at with Impact
Thursday.
Marana last week.
Yeah.
And I was like picturing in my head, I'm like, I can imagine they're doing that just probably on a work site, because they're doing a bunch of repairs on stuff out there. I'm like, they're probably just putting it up on one of the pieces of equipment of the building and just bam, getting the internet service.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's awesome.
We say it a lot around here, don't we? What a great time to be alive.
Oh, absolutely.
With all the toys and tools, but again, we're going to be using it again in a couple of weeks. That the Gap thing.
No, I think the Gap's going to give us internet there.
Oh, they're going to give us internet.
So luckily, I guess they got a whole venue set up.
Really?
So.
Yeah. There was something else that was going on. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, expect to see us back though in April with the Starlink.
Yeah.
And I shared it with the people from. We'll talk about it later. You know what? It's not like it's some big secret. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we've got all of our ducks in a row before we actually talk about.
Speaking of cool, it was cold yesterday too.
Yeah. It's kind of chilly, and I'm looking 66 right now.
Inside the building?
In this room right here. I've got, yeah.
Some of our directors and producers don't like the heat, so
I'm not one of them. I like the heat. Put me down as a hard no when it comes to code, okay?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just want to say thanks to all of our listeners and viewers. Even through this morning, you guys didn't hesitate to reach out and let us know that there was issues right away, and it was awesome because we're not always right away available to see that, and you guys let us know right away, and we started working on it. So I just want to thank you guys. Like, don't ever hesitate to reach out or feel bad that you're calling. If we don't answer, just know we probably you're on the phone with somebody else, or we're working on it. It's, we can all agree that that's not something that happens often.
Yeah.
And
I was one of those listeners calling on the right in, like, what's going on, David?
Yeah, I was like, hey, you're the 500th caller this morning. Thanks for calling Live the Dream Media today. I
hesitated to call because I thought he already knows.
Yeah, I think at that point we were probably 40 emails in already, and realistically probably like 30 calls.
Now, for me, in writing in, the radio app was just kicking me to the radio station.
Yeah, I was kicking into music.
A fail safe, so we didn't lose.
Yeah,
we didn't lose our streaming service. We just lost our ability to keep it on the show. The show.
Yeah. So welcome to the
sorry, Wakies. That we're doing the best we can with the tools that we have.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, I should call Xfinity right now and say, hey,
do us a favor.
Do us a favor.
Yeah.
Call Xfinity right now.
I don't want to put them on blast, but there was some deniability this morning that they had anything to do with it until the phone call got real.
Yeah.
And we sent them some numbers from our tests, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess that is." So come on, guys. Trico, start that back up. Speaking of Trico, you got somebody coming on the show with you here shortly.
Yeah,
it's a
we're
candidate for the board.
A couple more minutes. I want to really wrap up the Founders Day. Great event. It's always fun to be out there, spending time with the good folks in Marana. And then a great party on Monday night. We had the Wakies in the room. And our St. Patty's Day was really a lot of fun. That's Chris's folks for the most part. Mm-hmm. The Wakies, as they're referred to. What a wonderful group of people.
100%.
And you just get them in the room, and there's no any drama, and there's excuse me, everybody's just having fun and engaging, and I'd look for so Wakies, if you're still tracking with us. We're going to be doing something for you every quarter or so.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we've got something planned in late April.
Somebody asked why we don't have a band playing.
Well, we're working on that. How about that?
I asked. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah, we're working on that.
They have the stage and all that.
Yeah, so. we're working on that, especially for April.
Yeah.
I think it's the 26th. I will say that we're going to have a party here from 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Picture Rocks is going to get involved in that with us. So, you know what, Shay? Let's take a little break, and then we'll get Mr. John in here with us.
All right.
Thank you, David.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Come back in about a half an hour. We'll wrap up.
We got some cool guests I want to share with you that are going to be coming up next month. So we'll talk about that
too.
All right.
Thank you, Shay.
Looking for the best outdoor patio in Tucson? Look no further than St. Philip's Plaza at the southeast corner of River and Campbell, where you can sip on Tucson's finest collection of whiskey at Union Public House, brunch 7 days a week at Reforma Modern Mexican Mezcal and Tequila, and experience our newest restaurant, Proof, proudly serving house-made pasta and artisanal pizza. Enjoy live music and dine under the stars with Union, Reforma, and Proof. Join us at St. Philip's Plaza.
Hi, this is Sean McCluskey, co-owner and designated broker for Rincon Ventures. If you're a rental owner by choice or by accident and you're looking to hire or change property management companies, consider Rincon Ventures. We employ an aggressive web-based advertising strategy to market your rental. We thoroughly screen prospective tenants and conduct routine property inspections. Our online system gives tenants the ability to pay rent and file maintenance requests instantly over the web. Our owners can use the same system to instantly check on their properties. Call Rincon Ventures at 881-2258 or visit us on the web at rvprop.com.
80% of those that have been incarcerated have been in foster care. So that's crazy to think that 8 out of every 10 inmates, male or female, have touched the foster care system. So if we can break the cycles that cause the foster care system to even be in existence, we're going to change society.
At GAP, I found love.
I found family.
It means hope. It was almost like I had a family away from my own family. At GAP, I found home.
Hey, we are back. We are back with a good friend of mine, John Pestle, who's running for, well, he's a good friend. Just tell us who you are, John. Give us a little background on you. I'm on a board with your wife,
Correct.
That's how we
Yep.
met a couple of years ago. And so
Yep.
just give us a little background on you and why you're here.
Sure. Well, it started in part with the board you're on with my wife, which is for the food bank. And one of their locations is served by Trico. And if you're a Trico customer, you get to elect the board of directors. And there was a vacancy in that area. And they came to me and said, John, we want you to be on the board. And the reason is, put it simply, said, you're qualified because I'm a lawyer. And for 40 plus years, I've represented utilities like Trico in many states in a wide range of matters. And so they said, John, you know the business. It'd be good to have you on the board. Trico does a great job, but it never hurts to have an old gray head, and you can see the gray hair. Asking questions, just making sure the I's are dotted and T's and crossed, but also bringing in experiences, from the past and from different areas. So the election is, the most of the voting is electronic, and I think we'll put a slide up here in a minute giving you some information on that. But the electronic voting online closes 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
And if you want to vote in person, Trico has an annual meeting on Saturday, April 5th at the Del Sol Casino, and you can go there and they have a program, but that's where you can vote in person. So that's a capsule summary of it.
So that would mean the online voting it ends April 2nd. I
Correct.
believe.
Yeah. They have to
correct?
close it a couple days ahead of time so they can have then the figures to take over to the annual meeting. So,
So, Shay, do we have that graphic? Just curious. I think we do somewhere back there.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so there's how you vote. If you're and the Trico service area is
complicated,
huge, isn't it?
Yeah, they serve from a small piece of Pinal County, wide areas of Pima County, and then a little bit of Santa Cruz. It's primarily Pima County with a little bit of Pima on the north and Santa Cruz on the south. And they serve 50,000 customers, mainly in the outlying areas, because Trico started actually exactly 80 years ago. This is their 80th birthday, and they were started by 7 farmers in Avra Valley who didn't have electricity. And if you go back, my grandparents were dairy farmers, and when you started off there, you didn't have electricity. And then there was a program to try to bring it out to the rural areas. Started in the 1930s, took off in the 40s. And, so Trico mainly serves areas that were rural around 1950-ish, because that's when the state divided up the areas and, this utility serves here, that utility serves there. And what has happened? Well, like Marana was largely rural back then, but now parts of it are suburban.
Well, it was
urban.
rural even when I showed up in Arizona in the first 1988.
Sure.
There wasn't really anything out there.
Yeah. So the main areas, you have Dove Mountain, Saddlebrook, parts of Marana that are kind of away from the thruway, Mount Lemon, Avra Valley, Paradise Valley. I'm missing one valley in there. And then you've got parts of Sahuarita, Green Valley, and then south to Arivaca and that area. But you can tell them by using those names. These are not the major urban centers, but they provide the service out there, and it's a lifesaver. I was telling you earlier, I was out in Arivaca last weekend, and I looked it up. They didn't get electric out there, electric utility, till 1956. Let's see. I was in the second or third grade.
I was 2 years from being born.
Okay, well, I'm a little older than you. But I grew up in rural Vermont, and I can remember about that time, there would be articles in the newspaper that this little community got electric service.
Yeah.
That little community got electric service. And if you go out to the old farmers' field days, you'll see all these appliances that we think of now as being electric, and they're gas-powered. Washing machines, I guess not dishwashers, saws, all kinds of things. Pumps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
have you ever carried 5 gallons of water? I mean, that is heavy. So anyway, it made a world of difference to America, to the more rural parts of America, to get electricity and literally move into the 20th century, where you could have
halfway through the century, by the way.
halfway through, yeah. But now you could have washing machines. Can you imagine what it is doing washing, your wash without a washing machine?
Well, I grew up, and you did too, in an era where I can still see the 3-ringer washing machine, and everybody hung their clothes on the line. And,
and the kids, you were born not to get near those ringers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, that's the background of it. And the other thing I would just simply stress is that, here's the difference. The major utilities you think of are, they're owned by investors, and they're out to make money. And that's nothing wrong with that. But, so they have shareholder meetings. Trico has a customer meeting, an annual meeting. It's the customers that own it. They get to vote. They get to decide. And the sad thing is, in these elections, only about 2% of the people vote.
So how many? I saw that number, and you're going to
50,000 customers.
50,000 customers.
So maybe 800 or 1,000 voted last year. So this is an election where where your vote really counts.
Yeah.
It's not like you're one of a million.
Yeah.
You could be number 801 and make the difference.
Yeah.
And I have been meeting with a number of customers in various locations at food banks and the like. And, people are really interested. And some of them are really aware. I've voted every year since I got here, and others said, I can vote. But they're really interested. And I think people were so appreciative that, somebody from the utility is reaching out to them. Verizon doesn't do that, or AT&T or the others. Well, they reach out, but it has a bill attached.
Our Comcast or any of them, Xfinity today.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up, we grew up in a small community. I grew up in a small community in Southern Illinois, and we were part of the Tri-County Electric Co-op.
Same idea. Exactly the same.
Same thing. And everybody that was there, I don't know exactly how it worked, but I know my parents, even after they moved out here years later, were still my mom was still receiving a dividend check, or wasn't much. I don't remember what it was, $28 or whatever it was, but she still was. So how does that does Trico work that way?
Yes, exactly. And Trico, I don't know if there's Quadco or Duoco, but Trico is a very common name in the co-op.
Because there's usually 3 counties coming together.
There's economies of scale, and they start out in one county, and then they 2 or 3 is about the right size. No, they're a nonprofit. So if at the end of the year they've got more revenue than expenses, people get a dividend check back.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I don't know if you've ever shopped at REI Co-op. They have outdoor gear. Same idea. We get a dividend check every year. There's book co-ops and others, but it's a part of the cooperative. Credit unions are another type of cooperative. I worked with them in the past. But most of my career has been spent working. Well, there's been several aspects, but the electric part has mainly been working with Trico or municipally owned utilities. They're both owned by the customers they serve, and that really makes a difference. When you can call up somebody and say, hey, well, you were having trouble with Infinity this morning with the electric. I've seen, very close connections. You can call the general manager, you can call the local office, and you get a quick response. And I've worked with these utilities in Texas, the Midwest, New England, for 40 years. So all kinds of issues, power plants, environmental rates, whatever. And I think, I have seen what Trico has done with both the food banks that you and I are involved with, which they help out. They're very community.
You know what? I can't say enough about Trico. It's certainly at Marana. That's all I can speak to. But I think they've been the same partner, if you will, or community partner in Sal Rita as well.
Oh, because
Roberta sits on both both boards, and
Yes.
they've just been so generous to the community.
Oh, they are. They really give back. I mean, and that's, if you look at their charter, that's one of the major things they do is we give back to the community, work with the community. And I know they saw that my wife was president of the food bank when they were building a major new building, during COVID because of the huge demand, and they added a 14,500 square foot building, and they were working with Trico. They had solar panels, and there were just a number of things, and Trico was great to work with to make it happen. So that's. And that's the
we
nature
need
of
more of that too, don't we, John? Really, to me, I'm a big local guy. We're on local Marana right now.
Right,
we
right.
want to support our community. We need more of that. We need less of the big. Like you said, I own stock in a lot of major companies. You probably do as well. So I'm one as a stockholder. I want my money, and let's. But we need way more in our local communities. We need more local control over everything, to be honest about it.
And that's part of the experience I bring that would be helpful with Trico, because there's, with an electric utility like Trico, there's three legs on the stool. One is the engineering part, getting the lines out to wherever. The second part is finance. How do we pay for the lines? Because utilities are some of the biggest borrowers in the country because the lines and equipment and power plants are so expensive, and basically, they're very sensitive to interest rates. It's like on your mortgage. If the interest rates go up, you're going to do less. But the third, and this is what your localism brings up, is regulation, because Trico, like most utilities, is regulated by the state, and it really limits what they can do. Now, part of that is good, because they're trying to prevent people. Well, you don't want the software industry model of go fast and break things, and the lights go off here and we're off the air. But you can go too far the other way and then inhibit some of the change and localism. And I've seen that in the rates and tariffs and the rules of some of these utilities, where they do tailor themselves to local situations. Local, municipally owned cable networks was one where one of the. I got an idea for you. Their obituary show was one of the biggest programs they did for a local community that was tight knit. So
I know. That's the first place a lot of people used to go in the newspapers when it was who died.
You got it, and that would not be on the big networks. Now that doesn't translate exactly over to electric, but there that's one of the there are advantages of economies of scale, no question. But there's advantages of staying local and really tied in there. And this is where you do a great job with this program, with the others. The Marana Founders Day, you were out there. So I think that's great. By the way, you mentioned Trico. I know has applied. I'm not on the board yet, so I don't know a great deal. But they've applied for a federal grant authorized by Congress to bring faster broadband. So maybe that will come here. I don't know, but we'll have to see.
We need that, don't we? I mean, especially maybe not right here, because but in all those areas you mentioned that ended with Valley, they need faster broadband. Don't they?
And this, I worked in the 80s and 90s in particular. Again, part of my career a large part of it has been electric, but the other part has been in cable and telecommunications, where I was always up against Comcast, Cox, AT&T, you name it, the telephone companies. And the biggest issue we dealt with, first, the biggest issue was I want cable service because I can get internet. And I want it. Then they got it. Guess what the second question was? Rates are too high.
But it had to be that.
But they were willing to pay the rates. But I can't tell you how many phone calls I got from local business people, entrepreneurs. I'm just outside the area where Comcast serves. I need internet to be able to run my business, not dial up.
Right.
And how can you get it to me? And it was the government influence over that was very minimal. So we basically had to hope that the cable company would extend out there, but there are constraints. It costs.
Yeah, the costs are. Yeah.
You're talking for electric maybe $150,000 a mile to build a line. If you add telco to it, it's maybe $50,000.
Yeah.
So it's a high cost business to be in to get the lines out there.
Right. You said something that I hadn't thought about in years. I think our first cable companies in the Midwest, where I grew up in Illinois, I think they were a cooperative kind of thing. If I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking mid to late 70s. Yeah, mid to late 70s.
Yeah, Well, the cable company started off right after World War II. I lived in a valley in Vermont.
Well, we didn't get anything till 30 years after.
But we had a cable company then because they put an antenna up on top of a mountain.
I remember,
and then ran it down into the valley. And then they were all locally owned. Some were co-ops.
Yeah,
and then
I think they were.
Yeah, and then over time they got bought up by the bigger companies.
I'm almost positive that'd be a great documentary, wouldn't it? Because I think that at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure, because I can see that they were more satellites than towers where I grew up, because it's flat.
Yeah.
And I'm positive that those were co-ops that then would get bought up by another one and another one. And,
sure.
And the next thing you know, you've got a regional cable company.
Oh, that I've done research on the utilities generally, and that's true with electric. It's true with gas. It's true with cable.
Yeah, I guess everything started kind of local, didn't it?
They did, yeah. And you had competing telephone companies, and if I was on Company A and I wanted to call you on Company B, I couldn't. And in fact, one of my first experiences in the electric business, well, let me start. Where I grew up, starting 10 years old, I had a little tiny room in my parents' house that was my shop, and I had all kinds of radio equipment in there and stuff. And I got my first lesson in electricity when I had I said, gee, what will happen if I stick a screwdriver into a 220-volt electric outlet?
That's not...
Oops. I picked myself up across the room. But as an example of that, our local power came predominantly from an old hydroelectric plant there on the Connecticut River. I worked there as maintenance in the summer to pay for college. But that back then, it was 25 cycle electric. It wasn't 60 cycle. And only when it got pretty much wiped out by a hurricane, they rebuilt it. But I like to kid and say, I know the electric business from the ground up, not only from the shock, but when you're working maintenance in a power plant, let me tell you, you see it literally from the bottom up. And, the stress on safety, because us young guys, we'd like to take our hard hats off, or we would, go near the switch yard, and the old guys would chew us out, and they were right. They had the scars to prove it, and they didn't want us to have to get them. But I did,
I was going to say, I would be remiss if we didn't discuss your tie there.
Yeah,
you see that?
Yep, this it proves I'm really in the electric business. I got that in San Francisco years ago. I was one of many speakers at a convention of all the co-ops nationwide. It's called National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, and I was giving a talk about utilities and participation in nuclear power plants. And I went by some store, and they were selling these, and so.
So you've had that a number of years then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's the one thing about ties, just hang on to them there.
Yeah, it's an incandescent light bulb that doesn't work. It's not an LED.
You can't see it, but he's got there's the little chain on there.
Yeah.
You can see that right there.
They can zoom in, yeah.
That's hilarious.
You pull it, nothing happens, but But anyway, what questions do you have for me?
Well, I don't have a ton of questions, other than what I want you to be able to share with people is how they can, support you on these last 2 weeks.
Well, if you can put that slide that's up there.
Bring it up a little bigger real quick for us, if you would, Shay. Just make it a little bit bigger.
There you go.
There's all the information. Really, I guess There's a YouTube video of you.
Yes, if you go to that website, you'll see it. But if you go to you just Google Trico or Trico Arizona, it's www.trico.coop, and then right on the top of very near the top is a vote button, and you click on that, and it shows how to vote for people.
How many positions are open? Is there?
There's 3 open, but 2 of them are incumbents, and they're unopposed. So this is out of 5 seats, this is the only contested one.
So one you're running for
yeah.
is the only contested seat.
Yes.
Okay.
And you have to have your Trico account number, to know you're legitimate and not some guy from someplace else.
Yeah.
But if you go on there, Trico made a little video of me and of the other guy. It's 2 minutes long, and if I do say, it's pretty good. It is.
I've shared it on my Facebook page. I will share it again. A couple of times, there you go. So it looks like it's a pretty simple. Go to trico.coop or co-op, and then have your account number ready to go.
Yep. And you got 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is when it closes.
Unless you come to the
annual meeting.
The annual meeting
at Casino del Sol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that well attended? Just out of curiosity.
I think they're planning on nearly 1,000 people.
Wow.
I don't know. I've not been to one before. But in talking with Roberta, the woman we know who's on some of the boards, she said they're hoping for around 1,000 people.
Wow!
But even said that's 2%. No, you can't. You're never going to have all the customers show up.
No. How many? You say 50,000?
50,000 round
times 3 or 4 that live in that household. So we'd fill a couple of arenas for sure.
But that's the difference of a co-op utility from the investor-owned utilities. The co-ops, the customers it's a customer annual meeting at the with AT&T and the like. It's a shareholder annual meeting, and that pretty much says the difference between them.
Yeah, and the difference is the shareholders are sitting there. They don't really own. We're just participants.
Yeah.
I've been invited to a few shareholder meetings over the days, and I'm like, me and 30,000 other people.
Right. But this is one where it's, as you said, it's local. It's like your Marana programs where you can make a difference. You can meet the directors. You can meet the general manager. They'll have, people there. You can ask questions. And people, when I've been up meeting with people, they've asked me questions, and I have to say, gee, I don't know the answer, but if I get on the board, I'll try to get an answer.
Right.
Because I don't know the inner workings.
I can say this about John and Penny. They're awesome people. It's been a pleasure to get to know them. And with all of your experience, and I think it's 4 decades working.
4 decades,
working
and
in
counting.
This industry. There's a lot of value in that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's what I hope to bring. When my wife and I came down here nearly 20 years ago, we didn't want to retire. Probably like you, I've been working ever since I was 15 or 16, and this is something again where I can help give back to the community. With the knowledge we've got, and I do that. But I also get my exercise. The other day, I'm out cutting brush. We're trying to get a 100-foot perimeter around our house against fire.
We're getting into that season again.
Yep. And but this is good. This is an area where I think I have some knowledge.
Yeah.
And again, I want to stress the Trico staff is really, really good. But, you have a board there, and if you've got a board that's sharp, that makes sure, puts the staff a little bit on their mettle to make sure when they go there that they've got their I's dotted and T's crossed.
And, with the way the area is growing, Trico, the demand for the power of Trico is only going to increase. I mean, because a lot of people are moving into the rural areas and building them out.
Yep.
We're continuing to grow in that area. So the importance of this is, for me, would be really very, very high, the growth of this, because in the next few decades, that 50,000 is going to be 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because of the people, again, we're dense in a lot of areas. We have to grow in the rural areas. That's the only place we can grow in.
Exactly.
A lot of places.
And that's where, the long-term planning for the utilities is critical. because a power plant can take. If it's a big one, you're talking, at least 3 years for construction and how many years for planning and permitting. So you've got to be looking out a decade to do your planning, and not only the power plants, but the lines and the infrastructure, because if the power demand doubles in a certain area, well, you may have to strengthen the lines and the like to get there.
Hey, so if you're a Trico customer, owner right now, and you haven't voted, get on there right now and vote for John. And share with your friends, your family, your neighbors, all of them that are Trico customers. Make sure you. I think it'd be a huge. I think you'd be a huge asset to the board, John, with your experience and your knowledge moving forward. I think that'd be a valuable asset to our community.
Well, thank you. I hope to bring it to bear with God willing and votes of the people who are listening.
Come on, let's break a record. Let's get 1,200 votes this time.
50%
John,
increase.
thank you so much. We appreciate you making the drive up. Thank you.
Thank you.
The best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, thank you guys. Let's run a real quick commercial break, Shay, and we'll get David back in here, and we'll wrap up another.
Looking for the best outdoor patio in Tucson? Look no further than St. Philip's Plaza at the southeast corner of River and Campbell, where you can sip on Tucson's finest collection of whiskey at Union Public House, brunch 7 days a week at Reforma Modern Mexican Mezcal and Tequila, and experience our newest restaurant, Proof, proudly serving house-made pasta and artisanal pizza. Enjoy live music and dine under the stars with Union, Reforma, and Proof. Join us at St. Philip's Plaza.
Hi, this is Sean McCluskey, co-owner and designated broker for Rincon Ventures. If you're a rental owner by choice or by accident and you're looking to hire or change property management companies, consider Rincon Ventures. We employ an aggressive web-based advertising strategy to market your rental. We thoroughly screen prospective tenants and conduct routine property inspections. Our online system gives tenants the ability to pay rent and file maintenance requests instantly over the web. Our owners can use the same system to instantly check on their properties. Call Rincon Ventures at 881-2258 or visit us on the web at rvprop.com.
80% of those that have been incarcerated have been in foster care. So that's crazy to think that 8 out of every 10 inmates, male or female, have touched the foster care system. So if we can break the cycles that cause the foster care system to even be in existence, we're going to change society.
At Gap, I found love.
I found family.
It means hope. It was almost like I had a family away from my own family. At Gap, I found home.
Hey, and we are back. It was a pleasure having John in the room. I know his wife, Penny, pretty well. We nice people. I can't vote, but I would if I could.
That was, them through the food bank?
Yeah, Marana Food Bank.
Yeah. People don't know this, but Clint is on the board of directors for the food bank.
Yeah. I met Penny a couple of years ago in that first meeting.
Yeah.
It was Carlos and Penny and Jackie, and then representatives of Marana was there.
It's really cool.
And before it was over, they were hired to, or Carlos was hired to be the executive director of Marana. Mm-hmm. And it's just, we could go on and on about that. Just the community involvement has just been unbelievable. I'll just throw a number out there, probably $500,000 easy in the last year that has been donated by the Marana community. Yeah, that I know of, just hard money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you got the box truck accomplished.
$50,000.
Yeah, done. And then now we're getting ready to buy. You guys are getting ready to buy the property.
That's close to $300,000.
That's huge.
Yeah. You know what? And you know what? it's easy for me to say, and Carlos was like, I can't believe it. And you just, well, it's going to be okay because I just know this community is just that generous. Mm-hmm. We raised $275,000 in just a couple of months to buy the property.
Wow.
Think about that number, David.
It's a lot.
We're talking well over, in just a short period of time, well over $250,000 just to buy property. And that's not counting the food, the labor. We just gave, local Marana just gave Joy Thompson, if I remember her name correctly.
Was it Lynn or?
Lynn. The volunteer of the year. You know what? She was overwhelmed by that.
Was she?
I'm sorry you couldn't. You were busy doing something. I forget what it was.
I'm sure it was.
Cammie and I ran out. She was just overwhelmed by that we had recognized her.
Yeah, that's cool. So volunteer of the year was Lynn Thompson, and then business of the year was Blacktop Grill.
They were pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Gabe was pretty overwhelmed by that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? When you're doing good work, we want to recognize you. I said to someone the other day, if you're not doing good work, I'm pretty quick to say, hey, you're not doing good work. But if you're doing good work, I'm just as quick to say you're doing good work. Right? Mm-hmm. We should hold each other accountable, but we should definitely be ready to pat each other on the back if somebody's doing something well, and especially for the community.
Right. So I wanted to talk about a couple things before we go today. And I was looking at our calendar for the show.
It's stupid.
And stupid in a good way. So we've got coming up next week is, this one's on Pump 4, is Ken from the Gate Church, which is across the street here. And Ken oversees some of the recovery program stuff they do over there. And he's going to come and talk about that. And he's going to talk about the Gate Church, which is really, really, really exciting. And then the week after that, you've got Javier from the Collision. What is it? Spectrum Collision?
Yep.
He's coming, and he's on the board of the Marana Chamber, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been in business for what, like 30-something years? Something crazy.
Yeah.
And then the following week is Vera Earl's joining us.
Yeah.
So we had them on before when we were still kind of building and piecing it together and everything.
Bring that meat, baby, Barrel Earl beef.
Yes, yeah. So they're gonna be on the show, and this will be cool this time because I don't think at that time we had the app running.
No, we didn't.
Time.
No,
so
absolutely didn't.
This time they'll be the people in Sonoita, which is where they're at, will be able to listen and watch doing their thing if they're driving, and then. I think it even goes past that. I think it's later. Oh, April. It looks like this one's going to be cool because it's just been, they've been part of the community for a long time. Yeah, April 30th. Brian from BKW.
Oh, good.
He's going to come here.
Yeah.
You know, they do agriculture. They have the paintball field and things like that. So he's coming in studio to talk about things they're doing out there. And I know some of the restaurants here in town, you know, Dominic's and Blacktop, and they're using some of their mushrooms or something out, like some kind of food pieces from over there. I think it's mushrooms and different things. They're using them in the local spots, which goes back to that, you know, talking about Gilbert up there, what they're doing, Joe's Barbecue and the Agritopia and all that. I thought it's just really cool.
Local.
Local.
It's so important. That's what John and I were talking about.
Yeah.
Which one of the reasons why Trico is such a cool thing. It's locally owned by the customers.
Yeah.
By the customers. And if there's a little extra money left over, you get a little dividend check. You know? How cool is that?
It's really cool. I got to see one of their solar farms last week as part of the Impact Marana Day. If you're looking to learn a lot about the town, I highly recommend putting an application in for the Impact Marana Class 3 that's going to come up within the next year. You know, there's so much stuff going on that you don't even realize on a day-to-day basis of service providers and
how
businesses.
do you do that, David? How do you put your application in?
Yeah, go visit the Marana Chamber, go to their website, look for the Impact Marana page and information, and I'll have some stuff in there for you. And you have to get some references and stuff like that. So if you're somebody I know that wants to do it, like, just hit me up.
There you go.
I'll happily, refer you. But yeah, the solar farm was insane in hearing how much the technology has changed within the last 10 years and the amount of power that's being generated and it's being used. It's It's really interesting, and seeing how much the storage has changed over the years, right?
That's the key.
And that's going to be something that still needs to happen. And, we had some good conversations about nuclear energy. I think that, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm the source to know that, but just learning, that nuclear energy is definitely a possibility within the next 15 years, which is really cool. I even heard some conversations in them talking about there's small nuclear reactors that can be used in a jam, in an emergency, right? You have a huge storm or whatever. They can roll one up in a trailer and power
and I'm glad you mentioned that, because nuclear has such a negative, when you say the word, it's like,
bombs. Yeah,
but there are so many ways that nuclear can be used. It's kind of like everything else. So you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. It's in the hands of the person in control, but nuclear plays a role. I want to do a real quick plug for the Clint Peak Show.
Yeah.
I'll have next week following, who we got on next Wednesday?
Wednesday
on the local Marana, just mentioned.
We have Ken from the Gate Church.
There you go. Okay. So right after him, then I will have Dr. Dan Streeter from the Marana School District.
Dr. Dan's coming back. All right. That's good.
Also have Lori Kramer, Clark, a great friend of mine. This young lady has made about 8,000 parachute jumps in her life. She jumps every day. Every time I see her Facebook, she's jumping.
Like out of a plane?
Shane Clark's wife. She jumps all the time. She jumps 2, 3, 4 times a week. I asked him one time, I'm like, how many times has she jumped? And I think it's like she's jumped like 7,500 times or so. She jumps out of a plane every day on purpose.
Yeah, we need to do like a local Marana stunter of the year.
You'll have she's wild. Then we have Brian Watson will be joining us again.
Oh, the IRS,
Brian. I don't remember the
IRS
dates,
guy. I love him. He's so awesome. He's more than that.
And the scam fraud guy.
It's always good. It's always good to be up to date on those, man. Because I don't think there's a day that goes by where there's some attempt.
Yeah. Every day, all day,
every day. And there's new ones. They
I haven't paid any of my tolls, but I started getting that one.
Oh, you drove in Philadelphia.
And pay it today, $6.99. You won't. I started getting a few of those text messages.
Well, I've been riding unprotected without my car warranty service for several years. But no, it's always great to have him on. And that's what's so cool about the platform, right? And like Local Marana and other shows. Local Marana, we're tackling education, we're sharing stories, we're bringing in people involved in the community, and we do it for all the folks here too. But we want it to be a reference for folks that are coming to visit. Yeah, right. You talk about the involvement in tourism and different things. We want people to go, oh, I saw Blacktop Grill, or I saw this restaurant on a show, and I heard and I saw them. Yeah, I'm going there because I saw it. I Googled and it came up, So
because you said a key thing about people coming to visit. A lot of what we're doing now, not all of it by any means, but is going more national. We're getting more of a national reach. Chris DeSimone show, the Wake Up with Chris, has got definitely a national reach. People all over the United States are tuning in to catch his show. They're tuning in to catch our shows that are more nationally geared. Our new Cornerstone Republic is really reaching a lot of people outside the community. So we want to be the beacon when we're talking about the community. So when people start going, hey, I want to go there, I want to vacation there. Yeah, let's go for spring break there, whatever the case may be, that we're referenced for the people that show up where they want to eat or stay or things they want to do. And you know what? Over the next few weeks, as we start, we have a lot of meetings in place right now with a lot of people. Yeah. Right now, right? We're a big time meeting this afternoon with local leaders. We're going to be sharing some really cool stuff over the next few months of what's going on in this community, because there's an evolution taking place, especially north of River. There's some things happening that behind the scenes that we're going to be able to. We can't share it now, but we will over the next few weeks and months be able to share some really cool stuff that's happening in this community, and it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can't share. I'm locked down.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, there's cool
The
stuff.
omerta
And
has
I don't
been
like
used a
I don't
lot.
like people leaving people hanging. I feel bad, but if you catch me somewhere and you want to talk, we
Well,
can talk.
you know what? We're not leaving people hanging. We want them to think. No, here's what I want to leave people with. Good stuff is happening. There's a lot of really good people working behind the scenes to improve our community. Make it as good as it is. It can be better.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Right.
Everything can be improved on, and we're seeing a lot of people. We're involved in some of these conversations, but we're also people are sharing with us some of the things they're working on in this community. And it's like we want to be behind that. We want to support that. We want to share that with people. So there's a lot of really good news coming, guys. So another local Marana in the books. It was a good weekend, though, from Saturday through Founders Day through Monday through St. Patty's Day, the wake up show. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, and I just want to say props to the town of Marana, the Parks and Recreation team. They hooked us up when we needed some things, and it was awesome. They were on it, and they went over and beyond. That was pretty cool. So I just want to shout them out before we
good job.
we head out.
Okay, guys. Another local Marana in the books. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll be taking a couple of days off, but I'll be back strong next week. We appreciate all your listeners. We appreciate all your viewers. And thank you for your patience while we're going through our technical hiccups.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do to control that.
Xfinity, come on.
Xfinity.
Right, I'll see you.
Okay. Hey, guys, be nice to each other. Have a wonderful week.